host, Kyle Whissel.
Here we go.
All right. I'm trying. So as you can tell, it is not Kyle today. It is Brandy Pike.
My name's Kyle.
Oh, we do have a Kyle.
We do have a Kyle, just not Kyle Whissel in studio.
No, we actually have a better version of the Kyle Whissel.
And only you could say that. And why can you say that, Brandy, and nobody else can say that?
Unfortunately, I'm his little sister.
So, unfortunately or fortunately?
Unfortunately.
So,
no.
sometimes it's unfortunate because it's hard to live up to your big brother who, has a photographic memory, right? Who loves to tease you and I and Kyle that we have in here. So, that's maybe why it's unfortunate. But
other than that, I love him.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's
what am I going to do with him?
What are you going to do?
Yeah. So we don't have Kyle. He's actually.
We don't have Kyle Whissel.
We don't have Kyle Whissel. Yeah. We have Kyle from my box.
Kyle Taylor.
I think just as good.
Yeah.
And so, Kyle has taken a little bit of a time to. Where is he? I don't even know where he's at.
He's got so much stuff going on. So we always tape this show on Wednesday afternoon because we used to be Whissel Weekends, and they moved us to Saturday. Or we used to be Whissel Wednesday. Thank you.
Yes.
And they moved us to Saturday now. But for Kyle and my schedule, we still like kind of, coming in here on a Wednesday afternoon, kind of getting the show and getting out of here, providing you the information, you, the listener, right now, some of the greatest real estate information from Kyle, myself, the guests that we have on, having Brandy Pike, his sister, and one of the top agents on the team. I mean, when Kyle started the Whissel Company, you weren't on the team because you were, but you were an agent with another person that's a good friend of yours and Kyle's.
Yes.
And then at the right time, Kyle said, "Jason, you've met my little sister. Wait till you see her get over here. The stuff she can do." And I remember just waiting. And then he says, "So when's it going to happen?" He says, "It's coming. It's coming." And then he gave me that little text, years ago.
Funny
Brandy
story
is finally
to that.
on the Whissel team.
So funny story to that is, the brokerage that I was with prior to, and it wasn't any reason that me and Kyle didn't get along. It was just we were developing in different places. I was a new mom. The other company allowed me a little bit more flexibility than what I needed to do for Kyle.
Yeah, because Kyle had 2 employees, him and one assistant when he started.
And I came over, and it was literally he was getting married, going on his honeymoon, and I had about 30 REOs to take over at that point.
That's why he had you come over, and that's why he gave you a better deal than the other agent. I don't want to drop his name and have him get mad at me.
But he's great. So with that being said, they sent me sunflowers, right? The first week that I
remember that.
Yeah. And so he said, I'm so glad to be the person to help you bloom and blossom. Kyle wrote back, "Thanks for watering my flowers." Yeah,
Only
wrote back
Kyle.
to him. Oh, that's typical. So
Thanks for watering my flowers.
Yeah.
Wow. Handling 30 REOs back in the day when there was that many REOs. And for those that don't know, an REO is a bank foreclosure that the REO department, which is real estate owned. So now instead of a borrower owning that property, the bank now owns that property. And that's why it's called an REO, real estate owned property by the bank.
And those are few and far between right now. Like
there's still a little bit out there, but not as much as there was, of course, 10 years ago when you came onto the team, or 8 years ago. There was, he literally had 30 in escrow.
Oh, yeah. No,
so,
we had a lot.
He always had 20 to 40 bank listings at all times. Now he's lucky to get a listing. In the whole marketplace, you're right. There's only a few out there. And it's so funny. We all talk to buyers, and they go, "Hey, I want to get that foreclosure." I'm like, "I bet you want that house that you could have bought 3 years ago when we talked last for, $400,000 that's now $500,000. And you probably want the rate at 3.25 when it was there 3 years ago. That's now 5.25 today, right?" And they're like, yeah, can I get that deal? I go, "Yeah, let's get in a time capsule. Let's go back. Let's remember the story we talked about. You're gonna miss this opportunity because you think the market is at the top." And that was 5 years ago, right? 3 to 5 years ago, we had this discussion with some of these clients. And now they're like, "Oh my gosh, I should have listened to you." Right?
Exactly. And I think some people don't understand that just because you were pre-approved a year ago, things have changed.
Oh, yeah.
Even from a year ago. So I'm meeting with clients that, held off. And then now we're in a position where their payment was maybe $3,000. It's jumped up a little bit. And that's only going to continue.
Yeah. It's probably $3,200.
Yeah.
It's assumed to continue. The rates have risen.
Where are they right now?
So rates are in that 4.5% to 5.25% range, depending on your credit score, down payment, whether you're doing a jumbo loan, whether you're doing a VA, all the different things. But right now, really in that 4.5% to 5.25% range. And from 3.25% to 3.75% range, we're talking about a $300-400 a month increase, which is why you're saying clients that were pre-approved for $500 today, unless their income's drastically increased, they
Yeah.
only improve for maybe, from 500, maybe they're like 475. And the same property they could have bought 6 months ago for 500 is now worth 550.
And not necessarily just what you can get approved for, but what you're comfortable with. So you may be approved for 500,000, but that payment now is 3,200,
Right.
3,400.
Yep.
But you're only comfortable with paying
3,000 in your example.
3,000.
Right.
So, it kind of, takes the buying power a little bit away when you tend to wait.
If you've been waiting, you've missed out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, we'll probably say the same thing in another year or two. And here's what I tell everybody. Even though I've been in the business 30 years, I can't predict the future of real estate. I've seen all kinds of
You
things
can't
happen.
with all your old age.
I know. With my
Jeez.
dinosaur and, home loan coach age, I should be able to do that. But here's what I do know. I tell every client this that goes, hey, what do you think the real estate market's going to be next week, next month, next year? And I go, well, let me ask you this. The last 4 presidents I had an opportunity to vote on, a year before they got elected, nobody thought a guy from Arkansas, governor of the poorest state, Bill Clinton, who actually ended up being a very good president. And this is from a Christian conservative. I don't agree with him on a lot of things, but I think he was a very good president. And I was very surprised myself. But most people, including people on his party, thought that he had no chance a year before election. He got elected. A lot of people love him as a president. The next president, George W. Bush, a guy I absolutely love, saw speak 2 weeks ago in Las Vegas at our conference.
You did?
I did. Wonderful. We talked about it, me and Kyle. He's an amazing, down-to-earth guy. Now, he speaks like you and I, Brandy. He doesn't.
What does that mean,
What
Jason?
that means is he doesn't have these big words like Kyle Whissel has, right? He doesn't have the UCSD, degree that Kyle Whissel does. And he's just a down-to-earth guy. So if he says something wrong, hey, it's no big deal. Now, the media teased him all the time.
We have no idea what that's like.
Yeah, we don't have no idea because we don't do meetings with Kyle Whissel, right?
Ever.
Yeah. So that's what I mean by that. He's a down-to-earth guy. People like him. People like you. People like me. But we don't, say the perfect words always at the perfect time. And that's okay because we're not trying to impress people based on our words. We're trying to impress people based on our hearts, what we're willing to do for people, what we're willing to sacrifice, the things you do for your kids, the things you do for your, family. That's huge. I know we talked about that last week when you and I had a chance to kind of, spend some time and relax with
That was very
with
nice. Thank
Amanda
you.
and my wife Amanda, which was nice to have Amanda and Manda there.
It was a little confusing for me.
It was.
Especially after a drink.
Oh, wow. Now you're getting me sidetracked. So President Bush, nobody thought the son of the previous Bush would get elected a year before. No one thought. You get to the next president, Barack Hussein Obama. Really? Did somebody really think a year ahead he was going to get elected?
Never.
There was 1 or 2% that did, but most people didn't think he would ever get elected. And he was a good president as well. So all 3 of those guys were good presidents. Now we get to our current president, President Trump. The night of the election, everybody assumed it was a landslide, Clinton win. Don't worry. You don't even have to watch the show. Mail it in.
Not I.
You didn't, Kyle. We'll talk about that. But that's what everybody assumed. And so that's why I tell people, I can't predict the future because even the last 4 presidents,
You
the
can predict.
experts couldn't predict none of the last 4. So, with what's coming on with the current, term, they're doing the Congress stuff coming up here in November and all the runoffs that are going, no one can predict this stuff. I remember in 1994, I was right across the street here at Union Bank, and I'll never forget that GOP, again, Clinton got elected in 92, and in 94, they won more seats into the Republican on the House and the Senate than ever in the history of at least the last 50 years. It was a big win. And that was after Clinton got elected. So anything can happen. You never can predict. So if you're looking to buy, I know you probably missed the boat. You feel like you missed the boat.
You
but
haven't.
But you probably haven't fully because you still live in one of the greatest areas in the United States. That's San Diego. We have the great, look outside, guys. I mean, I want to talk about what happened to you guys outside here. But we have the best temperature. We have the best stuff. As long as we have jobs, we're going to be fine in our real estate market.
Well, and Jason, you're helping one of my current clients right now with a 0 down. They're not VA.
Yeah, it's not VA. It's a special program.
Yeah.
Let's hold that for one of the next segments. I do want to talk about that. But more importantly, I know we're up probably against a break here coming up quickly, but something happened to each one of you guys. And let's start with Kyle. Who's Kyle, our guest? What does Kyle do?
So I met Kyle when I was driving through Santee, and I used a different company for basically my clients
2 minutes.
to store their belongings in while they made the shift from one property to another, right?
So a storage box type of thing.
A storage box.
And Kyle's last name and what company is he with, Kyle?
So Kyle Taylor is with My Box.
And My Box is MI Box. I'm seeing this on your shirt.
Yep, it's MI, just so you remember. It resonates a little better.
All right. It rings it a little bit better. I like it. Any Hispanic origin with My Box?
No, we're actually part of a Midwest company.
Okay.
American-owned and operated. We bought the San Diego County territory of My Box.
Okay.
That took place April of last year.
Nice.
So I'm driving down the street.
Congratulations, Kyle.
I have a client who's like, I need a bigger box. And I'm like, well, I see his truck driving down the street with this huge box. And I just happened to call them. And lo and behold, he was available the same day to drop off a larger box. Very easy to get in contact with too. So that's one of the things is when you're in real estate and you're selling a home, it's
clutterly, right?
Yeah.
There's some boxes we could probably box up, put some stuff into a box.
There's a lot of collectors out there.
Yeah, well, I'm one of them. You can ask my wife, right? So here's what we've got.
We love them.
We've got an amazing guest in Kyle Taylor in My Box. But he has an amazing story. He barely make it here to studio. Something happened to him on the roads of San Diego, which happens to every one of us every once in a while. You can never predict it. So I want you guys to listen to his story. And then actually, Brandy has maybe just as good, if not a crazier story that also happened this morning driving in from where you live.
correct
So,
on the 67.
on the 67. So hang tight. We'll be right back out. We got to make sure we can pay for our show. So we'll be right back. Again, you're listening to Whissel Weekends, AM 1170, The Answer.